My friends, there's no greater adversary in life than our own selves. We are the ones who sabotage our dreams, undermine our goals, and erect mental roadblocks on the path to our potential. Today, I'm here to implore you to stop getting in your own way. Each of us has been blessed with incredible gifts, talents, abilities, skills that could elevate us to unimaginable heights if we dared to embrace them. But instead of spreading our wings and soaring, we clip our own feathers and wonder why we never take flight. We come up with every excuse in the book as to why success eludes us, when the only thing holding us back is our own lack of commitment to making things happen. Think about the last time you set out to accomplish something meaningful, something that stirred your heart with passion. Maybe it was starting your own business, going back to school, getting in shape, writing that book, or finding a more rewarding career. What happened? Where did the flame of inspiration go? For most, it got smothered by the wet blanket of self-doubt, fears, and old limiting beliefs. We tell ourselves, who am I to think I can do that? That's for other more talented people. We resign ourselves to playing small because it's comfortable and safe. But let me ask you, does being comfortable and safe create a life you can be proud of? Does it light you up with joy and a sense of purpose each morning? My friends, you deserve more than just getting by. You were put on this earth to be something far greater than a hollow shell of your potential. That inner voice whispering dreams of adventure, accomplishment, and leaving a mark on this world. That's the real you crying out to be freed. And it's time to stop suffocating it with the heavy rocks of doubt, fear, and realistic thinking. When you look at the great achievers throughout history, the visionaries, the leaders, the difference makers, they all had one thing in common. They didn't get in their own way. They tuned out the voice of doubt, ignored the naysayers, and forged ahead with an unshakable belief in their ability to turn their biggest dreams into reality. Take someone like Walt Disney, for example. As a young man with artistic talent, but very little money, everyone told him his dreams were way too big and crazy. No one is going to pay to watch a cartoon mouse. They sneered, but Walt Disney didn't get in his own way. He refused to put a cap on his ambition or let other people's limiting beliefs infect his mindset. Through persistence, creativity, and an unflinching belief in himself, he built an entertainment empire that brought joy to billions. And that's the power of getting out of your own way. Magic can happen. Opportunities will appear, connections will be made, skills will blossom in ways you could have never imagined when you were shackled by your own self-imposed limitations. Getting out of your own way requires cultivating an unbreakable belief in yourself. It means trading your fear of failure for an appreciation of failure's role as a stepping stone to growth. It means valuing life experience over credentials or societal markers of success. It means taking daily, consistent action without letting setbacks or criticisms from the cynics derail you. This doesn't mean being thoughtlessly arrogant or believing you'll be amazing at everything you try. Getting out of your own way simply means refusing to decide your own fate before you've even really started. Give yourself a fighting chance. Don't slam the door on your dreams by obsessing over all the things that could go wrong or reasons why you're not qualified. Those are just flimsy excuses your fearful mind manufactures to keep you cuddled up in the warm blanket of complacency. My dear friends, ask yourselves, at the end of this precious life, would you rather have a guilt-free heart knowing you swung for the fences, or a heart weighed down with regrets over dreams, deferred out of self-imposed doubts and psychological barriers? Don't let your greatest critic be the person staring back at you in the mirror. Silence that inner heckler. Stop getting in your own way. The path to your greatest self always starts with a single step, a first try, a willingness to let go of the shackles keeping you mentally enslaved to a life of mediocrity and playing small. And I'm telling you, once you get in the habit of giving yourself permission to take that first step over and over again, it's like a dam breaking loose. Your confidence builds, your belief in yourself strengthens, you start feeling alive in a way you never thought possible. And as you bravely keep stepping out of your comfort zones and stop self-sabotaging, the most serendipitous thing happens. The right people, resources, and opportunities are naturally drawn into your life. Why? Because you've stopped getting in your own way. You've opened yourself up to inspiration, serendipity, and allowed the universe to conspire in helping make your visions a reality. Things simply can't come together in a big way until you first get out of your own way. Life is too precious and far too fleeting to spend it as a hostage to your limiting thoughts, trapped by your fears, poisoned by self-doubt. Don't let those inner enemies keep calling the shots. Make the decision today to face them down, to stop granting them the power to tame your ambitions and suppress your dreams. Because here's the harsh truth. No one is going to give you permission to live the life you deserve. No one can hand you the courage, belief in yourself, and commitment required to stop getting in your own way. Those are internal battles each of us has to wage for ourselves. So start fighting for the life you were born to live. One of audacious adventure, of contribution, of meaning. Refuse to let your fears, doubts, and excuses keep bullying you into a life of regret. My wish for you is to get swept up in the empowering cycle of going for your dreams, taking risks, stumbling, evolving, and accomplishing things that 10 years ago you would have dismissed as impossible. Because once you get that momentum, once you've defeated the biggest enemy of playing small and get out of your own way, there's simply no telling what you can do. You are given a spark of divinity, a brilliant light that makes each of you unique and capable of greatness. But it's up to you to fan that spark, to nurture it into an inextinguishable flame. And you can only do that by throwing off the wet blankets of fear, doubt, and disbelief in yourself once and for all. My challenge for you today is to pinpoint one dream, one ambition that you've kept on the back burner because you've gotten in your own way, letting fear and limiting belief sabotage your pursuit of it. Make the decision right here. And now that's starting today. You're committed to stop getting in your own way. No more excuses, no more waiting for the perfect time. Take that first little baby step and watch how it grows into an unstoppable force. Yes, getting in your own way is easy. Playing small and suffocating your potential feels safer. But a life of meaning, accomplishment, and adventure, that only comes when you stop erecting roadblocks in your mind. So make the choice today to see what incredible things show up in your life when you finally stop getting in your own way. My friends, getting out of your own way is one of the greatest skills you can cultivate in this life. But let me be clear, it's not something you master overnight. It's an ongoing process of catching yourself when the doubt dragons and fear monsters start stirring up trouble in your mind. Those voices will always be there trying to persuade you that your ambitions are too lofty, that you should just settle for the safe, mediocre path laid out for you. But you have the power to decide whether you'll let them call the shots or not. Every single day, you'll face that choice. Am I going to listen to the negative committee jabbering away in my brain? Or am I going to forge ahead with belief in my visions and unshakable faith that I'm capable of making them reality? The more you choose the latter, the more you train your brain to stop getting in your own way. It's like building a mental muscle. At first, it feels incredibly difficult to silence the doubt and push past the fear. But keep at it, keep flexing that courage muscle, and it gets stronger and easier over time. Eventually, you'll reach a point where getting in your own way is no longer a default habit. Believing in yourself and your ability to achieve the impossible just feels natural. Now, that's not to say there won't still be hiccups, false starts, and setbacks along the way. In fact, I'd advise you to embrace those failures as proof that you're getting out of your own way. You can't make true progress without a few missteps here and there. The key is learning from them, letting them sharpen you into a more resilient, determined version of yourself. Because in many ways, our failures can be our greatest motivators for change if we allow them to be. Getting knocked down a few times wakes you up to the brutal truth that maybe, just maybe, you have been getting in your own way. Those disappointments force you to confront the ways you've been subconsciously undermining yourself, the fears you've been clinging to, the lack of commitment and hustle. So instead of crumbling and resigning yourself when you fall, choose to let those failures be an empowering wake-up call. Get back up with a stronger resolve than ever before to not let temporary stumbles keep you from steadily getting out of your own way for good. Hear me clearly on this. No one succeeds their way straight to the top without bumps along the road. In fact, I'd argue that the greatest achievers out there are those who failed more times than you can count. Their path was a zigzaggy, winding road riddled with setbacks, missteps, and misstarts. But the key distinction is they simply refuse to treat those as detours that send you back to your starting point. No, for them every dead end or wrong turn was simply a required course correction that ultimately puts you on an even truer. So during those times when it feels like you're getting in your own way, yet again, don't treat it as an excuse to get derailed entirely. See it as proof that you're trying, that you're stretching yourself beyond the comfortable limits of your former limited identity. Then dust yourself off. Study what you can learn from that latest failure, and keep on putting one foot in front of the next along that winding, glorious road that leads to your greatest self. Because living at that level, embracing the mindset of constant growth, of seeing life's inevitable setbacks as incredible learning opportunities, that's how you stop getting in your own way for good. It's about developing the discipline and grit to keep moving forward, even when it feels impossibly hard or like you're backtracking compared to where you want to go. You have to commit yourself to the process, not just fixate on the outcome or results you want. Sometimes the path will feel exhilarating and you'll be flying high from one breakthrough after another. And other times you'll feel battle-worn and weary. That's the natural ebb and flow of dismantling the walls you've built around your potential and stretching beyond your limited self. The key is treating it all as part of the journey, as critical milestones that are forging you into the prototype of who you're meant to become. It's not complicated, but it's also not easy. Shedding those old mindsets, releasing the crutches of fear and doubt that have kept you playing small. It takes tremendous courage and dedication. But I'm telling you, even when it's hard, the willingness to keep getting out of your own way is worth every ounce of grit it demands. Just think about those people who have inspired you most, who are out there making a dent in the universe and living a life that lights them up with enthusiasm each day. I can assure you, each of them has mastered the art of not getting in their own way. They've chosen to relentlessly stomp on the dandelion seeds of doubt sprouting in their minds before they can take root. They've conditioned themselves to ride out the inevitable storms and plateaus on the road to any great success. Most of all, they developed a trust in themselves, in their skills and resourcefulness, to not let anything stop them from realizing their visions, especially something as silly as their own mental barriers and limiting beliefs. My wish for you today is that you find that same level of commitment to stop getting in your own way, that you see this not as some far-off destination to be reached, but as a daily practice to embrace, to approach each new day with the question, how can I get out of my own way today? How can I act in spite of my fears and doubts instead of letting them call the shots? Ask those questions and watch how it shifts your perspective. Suddenly, you may find yourself seizing opportunities you previously would have shied away from out of self-doubt. You'll choose the braver, riskier path instead of the comfortable, limited. You'll welcome new challenges that stretch your capabilities rather than dismissing them before you've even tried. That's the magic that happens when you stop getting in your own way. You start living from your highest self instead of being shackled by your scared, insecure self. And the possibilities that open up for you then, well, they're simply breathtaking. So get out there and start dismantling those self-imposed roadblocks. Starve your fears of attention and stop letting them have the final say. Defend your right to keep evolving, learning, and growing into the biggest version of yourself. Sure, you'll make mistakes along the way. We all do. But that's okay. As long as you pick yourself back up and refuse to let those stumbles turn into detours that send you retreating into your limited mindset once again. Most of all, get out there and start actually doing instead of just dreaming. Dreams alone won't get you out of your own way. It's the courage to take action, despite your doubts, that will. So roll up your sleeves and get moving. Start getting experimental and stepping outside those cozy comfort zones. Stop over-analyzing or waiting for some perfect plan to appear. The perfect plan is simply the commitment to keep taking imperfect action, to keep learning and course-correcting each time you encounter setbacks along the way. If you truly devote yourself to that process with discipline and unwavering belief in your potential, I promise you'll experience a miracle unfolding in your life. Little by little, barrier by barrier, you'll shed that limited identity that's kept you constrained. You'll undergo an incredible metamorphosis into the biggest, boldest version of yourself. And from that place of ownership over your power, the possibilities for creating a life of contribution and adventure are endless. My friends, one of the biggest traps we fall into when we get in our own way is the trap of complacency. That sly, seductive voice that whispers you've made it. You've got it good enough as is. Why rock the boat? At first, we hardly even notice it creeping in. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, it starts draining our motivation, our hunger, our zest for more out of life. Before we know it, we've gone from ambitiously chasing our biggest dreams and visions to feeling pretty content to just coast along on the path of least resistance. We start making excuses about why it's too late to take that risk or why now's just not the right time for a big life change. Pretty soon, that voice of complacency has lulled us into a trance of inertia and self-imposed limits. But here's the brutal truth, my friends. Complacency is one of the most insidious dream killers out there. It convinces you that good enough is the same as outstanding. That settling is a fine alternative to keep striving for greatness. And perhaps worst of all, it deludes you into thinking you've gone as far as you possibly can in this lifetime. What a tragic waste of potential. To succumb to the siren song of complacency is to sign your own permission slip for getting in your own way. It's to accept a life of safe, sleepy stagnation over one of vibrant growth and endless possibility. I don't know about you, but the idea of lying on my deathbed with a heart filled with regrets over paths not taken and dreams left unexplored. That thought haunts me. It haunts me in the most powerful, motivating way possible because it lights a fire under me to never, ever let that insipid voice of complacency infiltrate my spirit and cause me to stop getting out of my own way. You see, I learned long ago